Okay, so Hokutomaru is still really strong, but he did get changed quite a bit in season 2, and I think overall nerfed. But if you don't know what's different, then you're not gonna know how to play against him. Hi, my name is Sammy, and in this video we have two goals. One is to show you all of the changes for Hokutomaru that actually matter and have the most impact when you play against him. And the other one is to, rather than go by line, kind of show you all of the changes put together and what they actually look like in game. But before we get into his actual changes, I want to go over the universal changes because I do think they help the character quite a bit, and it's one of the reasons why he's going to stay in the meta in season 2. Undoubtedly, the biggest and most important change to Hokutomaru is the EX hard knockdown change. He is a character that didn't want to get hard knockdown himself, and he didn't use hard knockdowns off of EXs himself at all. His soft knockdown Oki is actually extremely good. So for two reasons, he actually really benefited from this change. Another change that really helped him out is that heavy DPs now have some proration attached to them. He's a character that jumps around a lot. He's going to be in the air a lot, and if it means that he gets punished a little bit less when he's wrong, he's going to be pretty happy about that. And then lastly, but it's like not that big of a deal, but I think it will be a big deal later on, is that Overheat now turns off your invincibility usage for non-super moves. And for Hokutomaru, that's really good. He actually has extremely strong guard break setups, and off of safe jump, he pretty much is always going to guard break you, and there's nothing you can do about it now. So he really benefits as one of the characters that does have access to some of the best guard breaks in the game. So rather than going through the notes in order, I'll be going through the notes in a little bit of categories like movement, normals, etc. And that way we don't have to detail every line in the patch notes, but rather we can talk about the more important things while detailing how they work together. So first off, his movement got a little worse. He has slightly worse back walk speed, and that's pretty important because walking back is pretty strong in City of the Wolves. Sweeps in this game are unsafe, and that means they don't get used all that often. Holding back is generally a good defensive option, especially if you're outside of most characters' 2B ranges. It's still one of the best in the game, so it's not that big of a deal. His other movement nerf is that he can no longer just defend while in double jump state, but in return, he can no longer get counter hit for just being in that double jump state. This is quite a sizable nerf. This was one of the key ways to bait out reversals, especially during safe jumps. And before, if you were wrong, you could still JD to protect yourself. Now there'll be a lot more options when you read double jump that will work in your favor. There's a lot of changes like pushback reduce, pushback increase, stuff like that. I'm going to sum it up in a couple of lines that you'll be able to see in your games. First off, Far A has great range now and doesn't get pushed out of Rev Guard after 1 normal. It kind of got outclassed in a lot of ways, so you didn't see it all that often. Close B also doesn't push back as far, so now you get the old Close B, Close C frame trap from about 2 patches ago. Also, through all the reduced pushback on stuff like 2A, 2B, and other stuff, Hokuto now has 3-hit strings that can go into Rev Guard. This is really good. Hokuto used to get pushed out of all 3-hit strings with Rev Guard. Having an answer for that is a really nice buff. However, I'd say overall his normal pressure got reduced quite a bit. 2B now starts in 6 frames, up from 5 frames, which means a couple of frame traps will be harder to enforce. Close C is now +3 on hit, down from +4, and Close B is now +6 on hit, down from +7. The main nerf to both of these is now 2C no longer links to either of them on counter hit, which used to lead to a full heavy normal combo. Now on counter hit, both of these will only score lights. Funnily, 2B and Close B are going to be good pressure string starters, but in this patch, putting them together nowhere near has the same strength as it did before. This used to be a really consistent string to use on block, as if they normal guarded, you got Close B. Now if you put them together, the Rev Guard will cause Close B to come out and whiff entirely. Speaking of Far B, it now doesn't step as far, which not only means that 3-hit confirms will be a little bit harder, but you'll almost never see 4-hit strings on this character again. Lastly, while indirect nerf, and we'll mention a little bit more about this later, because Air EX Teleport got slowed down, 3D into EX Teleport no longer leads to a combo. This is not only a really good and relatively safe way to catch jump backers, but it also led to a combo in a lot of situations. You'll probably only get the EX Teleport if they're really sitting still now, but there's better ways to bet on whether you're right or wrong. Lastly, through various increased pushback on cancels and shorter cancel windows, Hokuto has no way to combo light normals into EX moves, which means extending combos will have to need super or a counter hit of some sort. Lastly, for the normals, Universal High Dodge got a slightly better hitbox. This is a nice buff for him. This is not only his best anti-air, but also his most rewarding one. On to the specials. While pressuring with EX Shurikens got slightly worse, pressuring with Flip actually got way better on all counts, especially the D version of Flip, which really didn't stand out in a meaningful way from other specials. D Flip is now +1 on block now, up from -1, and now even leaves you in throw range if they don't rev guard it, giving you a very nice strike throw setup. The empty Flip, the B version, also got a little bit faster, so now there's multiple ways to reset your pressure if your opponent's caught sleeping. Lastly, EX Flip kind of got reworked a little bit. It doesn't go as far, and now it's only +1 on block, down from +3, but now it starts in 19 frames, down from 23. It's +4 on hit, which means you can link into 2A in most ranges, and even leaves you in that 2A range if they don't rev guard it. Also, you won't be in throw range unless it's done in the corner. This, along with the EX Shuriken changes, will really change how this character pressures, and will probably make people a little antsy to press buttons because they don't want to get reset into plus frames over and over again. As I mentioned, EX Shuriken got slightly worse. Both EX grounded Shurikens went from +2 to -1 when done point blank, and also start up 1 frame slower, now at 15 frames, up from 14. This has a good and bad consequence. Bad in the sense that you can no longer guarantee guard breaks from FAR-C or 2C. As I mentioned before, he is one of the best characters at guard breaking, and this was one of the reasons. Now you'll need close normals if you want to make a gapless pressure sequence. However, in other situations, that 1 frame gap might actually be beneficial. 2C or FAR-C into EX Shuriken now creates a 1 frame gap, which means you have a really good way to catch rev blow mashers, or maybe somebody trying to answer a different pressure sequence. On the smaller end of buffs, EX Up Shuriken got a bigger hitbox, so it'll hit crouchers more often, and there's some funny setups to make it +2, but I wouldn't rely on it. Both the grounded and air version of EX Teleport got a cross-up hitbox, which means it'll be a little harder to walk under now. However, both C and EX Teleport are now easier to anti-air because they got expanded hurt boxes, and as I mentioned before, Air EX version of Teleport now slowed down quite a bit, making it much easier to react to. This is pretty much only a whiff punish tool now, so if you think your opponent's going to press a button, it'll be just as useful as before. However, you'll find that if you're just trying to get some easy plus frames, it'll be much harder to use that way. Lastly, rev blow is probably punishable by the whole cast now. I haven't tested it on everybody, but the pushback on block got way reduced, and now it's -6 on block, up from -5. -6 plus the pushback reduce means there will be some characters that can even get good heavy combos off of it, while most of the cast should have something nice to do because it puts you in counter hit state. This will be a very important part to lab, as you want to maximize the damage you can get on a blocked rev blow now. Gonna pile on the rest of these notes on the tail end here. Hokuto got slightly less combo damage on his staple combo tools, which means he'll do slightly less damage overall. Light Elbow doesn't launch as high for hits, which means a lot of his combos actually got hurt. He lost a lot of ways to combo into super as well. The aforementioned EX Teleport nerf, EX Upkick, EX Flip, all lost combos to super on their own. Hokuto had a lot of flexibility in the way that he comboed the supers for good knockdowns. Now he's gonna have to know what he's doing if he wants to hit that super. While all that kind of sucks, one nice change did come out of it, although it's not that important. A lot of his combos now do give you his easiest safe jump setup, which is nice on the mind, and means that anything you lab out can work in multiple places now. That's it for the overall notes and what I think matters, but I want to leave you with a couple of takeaways against the character, some overall thoughts that I think you should go home with. First off, this character is going to have to be extremely more purposeful. As I mentioned before, there was a lot of situations where you could just do the thing you were going to do anyway and get a lot of reward from it depending on what you wanted. You're always going to combo into EX Kuhadan, so if you only had 25%, you could tack on a super there. Now, he did get compensation for that. The EX flip into 2A allows you to combo into super with one EX move in a different way, but again, that means you'll need more purpose when you make those decisions. It's the same thing with his pressure. Even losing things like Air EX Teleport means trying to get in for one EX for no reason is probably going to get answered pretty quickly. I say 2B 5B and not close B or far B because both close and far B led you to good situations afterwards and did not matter whether you rev guarded or not. Now you're gonna have to think about what you want to do in those situations, and while you still have good strings, I think this character is going to be much harder to pilot. Speaking on his normals, my second takeaway is that his counter hit damage got reduced quite a bit. As I mentioned before, close B and close C got a frame reduced on hit, so they don't combo into 2C on counter hit. This means the reward for getting counter hit by those tools specifically will either need more commitment from the Hokutomaru player by using EX moves preemptively, or they'll have to settle for a light combo after that counter hit. For either case, the post-hit situation is far worse for Hokutomaru. It means that betting there will be a better thing for you to do. When you see close B on block or close C feint on block, I'd suggest gambiting there a little bit more often. Lastly, really lab out how to play against the different flips. Most cancels in the D flip will leave you a gap big enough for you to press a jab or maybe even use a universal high dodge, but there's a lot of varying factors with EX flip, and you should really know Hokuto's options when he chooses to use any one of these three flips. They all get used a little bit differently, but combined together they're going to be very, very tricky. For both Hokutomaru players and defenders, I really suggest going into lab and playing around with this one. And I think that's everything. I think the character is still really good, but I think only the best pilots will show how good he really is. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any more questions on his changes, or want to see something specific about Hokutomaru in Season 2, let me know in the comments, and I hope to see you on the next video.